particular genre that you read, or or is it your favorite? Something like Miss.
Yeah. Yeah. Good afternoon, Bhavika.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So, what about you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Okay,
Okay.
nice.
Did you have any time to go through the session notes for today?
Yeah, I just went through for 2 minutes, but I did not complete it.
Okay, that's fine. So you at least know the topic, right?
I think news or current affairs, right?
Yeah, yeah, great. Okay.
Mhm.
So since you're already aware of the topic, I would like to start. The first thing, since we're talking about current affairs, I want to ask you if you're interested in current events and news. Do you follow them?
Mm, I I don't read news. I don't watch news. So I don't think I interest in that.
Okay, great. So that's fine. That's so you don't. So you're not even aware of any kind of news or anything, or currently whatever events are happening. Nothing.
No,
Okay.
no, no. If someone will tell me, oh, today happened these things in our country, then I get to know. Or sometimes in social media, someone shared, then otherwise I don't watch.
Yeah, but at least you're aware of what is happening, right? If something big happens, you're aware of it. You see
Something
it
big
on social
happened, then
media,
yeah,
or
people tell me that this has happened, then I know, but you know, that-
yeah. Okay, great, no problem. So the first thing that I would like to point out here, your language is you're quite acknowledged with the language in general. So there are not a lot of mistakes that are happening. But one thing that I would like to point out is you said that I not interest in news, right? So instead of saying that, you can just say I am not interested in news, or I am not interested in current affairs, something like that. Right?
okay,
So use I am whenever you're talking about yourself, and whenever it's something that is happening, right, in the present, or something that usually happens, it's a daily thing or it's a general thing that is related to you, right? So
okay,
just say I am not interested in news, right? Something like that. Okay, great. So I'll go to the next question. Is there any? So I know that you said that you don't follow it too much, but is there any story or any stories that you are following recently?
story I'm following. What kind of story is that?
As in anything that has happened currently,
No,
even
no.
I mean, it doesn't.
Bhavika, let
No,
me tell you that my schedule is very hectic, so I don't have time to to give attention on to something that is not helping me to towards my destination, taking towards my destination, right? I have
great.
before starting the day, I have schedule my day, what time what I have to do, right? So
Yeah.
uh, I'm busy in that all things, to finish that work. So that is why.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's no problem. I mean, usually people do not follow these things because they're busy, so it's completely
Mm.
fine. So, great. Just a few things again I would like to point out. The first thing is you said on the something, right? So instead of on the something, you don't need to use the with something. And I think you're using the too much anyway as a filler word, right? Because a lot of times I did notice that you use the when it's not required. So it's okay, you don't need to use the. Sometimes it's just you just say the word and that's it. You just need to end it there. So it's fine. So instead of saying on the something, maybe say on something. You don't need to use, because that's an article. The is usually used when you are describing something very specific. So here you're not describing anything specific. So it's okay. Something is already in itself enough. So don't use the. Other
Okay.
than that, you said helping me. Yeah, you said helping me.
I think you don't have better connection. I think I cannot hear you.
Me taking two words. You know, when you said in it, you said helping me taking two words. Is it okay now? Am I audible? Is it better now? Am I
Okay, go
audible?
ahead.
Okay, great. So other than that, you said helping me taking towards my destination. You know, when you were talking about why you're not interested in news, you said it's not helping me taking towards my destination, right? So instead of saying that, you can say it does not help me, or and then something else. It does not help me, then you can say something. So you, instead of saying taking two words, they're two words that you don't use together usually, right? Taking and two words. So instead of saying something like that, you can say it does not help me take, or it does not take me anywhere. Just end it there. Don't say it's not helping me taking two words. Just say it does not help me, or it takes me nowhere, or it does not help me in whatever I want to do, something like that, instead of saying help me taking two words, right? Because it forms a better sentence, and other than that, the person in front of you will be able to understand whatever you want to say better, right? Because it conveys the exact meaning, that whatever it is that you're thinking, it conveys that, right? So just say it does not help me, the news does not help me, in my work, or it is of no help to me generally, something like that, right? Okay, great. So that was it. That these were just a few mistakes here and there. Other than that, I would like to move on and ask you the next question. Okay. Do you know what is the latest news about our country right now? Anything that you're aware of lately that has happened? It can even be related to movies. It's
I
completely fine.
think few days back, accident took place in Bhopal. That train, no
Yeah. Yes.
collision in each of the three or four train. So
Yeah.
that I knew that incident that happened, but I did not go in deeply. Someone put that news on the status, so I saw, and I got to know 300 of, I think not three, more than thousands people got injured and they lost of life. So that thing I got to know, but I did not know
Yes.
deep dive into deep and got to know. Yeah, because when
No, that's
you
okay. Yeah, that's fine. But at least you were aware of that. Yeah, great. So this was the last big news that you were aware of. Great. But yeah, that was the last big news of our country anyway. So it's fine. So the first thing, the one thing that I noticed that has been very consistent, you use a lot, right? Even when you don't have to use it, again, you use it like a filler word. So whenever you don't know what to think or what to say next, and you need a little bit of time, you use this, that, right? Something like that, which is okay. A lot of people do that. So just try not to use it, or using it less. It's not completely wrong, but it acts like a filler, and it does not contribute anything to the sentence or the context. It's fine. Even if you don't use it, I understand you just the same. You're saying the sentence, you're completing it properly. I know what you're trying to say. It's okay, you don't need to use it. So maybe keep that in mind and consciously try to not use it the next time you're saying something. Okay, great. And then when you were talking about the incident, you said I knew that incident. So even even in the present time, you know about that incident, right? So knew is usually used when you're talking about the past. So you're not talking about the past here exactly, right? You still know the incident, you're aware that this happened. So you say I know about the incident. And whenever you're talking about an incident or an event or something that has happened, something big that has happened, so you always use about, because that describes how you are aware about that situation or about that incident, something like that. So you just say I know about that situation, or I know about that incident, because you still do, right? You still are aware of it. So you say it like that instead of new. Always use new when you're talking about the past. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Yeah. Other than that, the last thing that you said was they lost their lives, right? So you use loss instead of lost. So I think you got confused there a little bit, which is okay. So instead of saying loss, because loss means somebody has, maybe someone close to a person has died. So they have experienced a loss. Loss is a feeling. Lost is something that happens.
I think
Yeah. So you can,
I
yeah.
think I said a loss of life. I think the loss of life, right? So is that incorrect?
Even loss of life in the context that you were talking about was not correct. You can say a lot of lives were lost, something like that, because that's what happened. So you can say it like that. Loss of life you can use when you're talking about the people who actually, experienced that or experienced a close one dying, right? For them you can use that, then it's fine, then it's completely okay in that context. But instead of that, just use a lot of people lost their lives, whenever you're talking about the news. So that is okay. And I think, yeah, these were just a few things here and there that you can take care of or improve on. Other than that, it was okay. It was quite understandable. You're speaking clearly or forming sentences well. So that's not a problem. That's great. Okay, so moving on, my next question is, do you ever read or listen to the news in English?
No, I don't. I don't. I don't.
Okay. So, what language do you usually listen to the news in?
I said I don't listen to news or watch news. I say whenever I
Yeah,
get
but even
time.
on
Sometimes
social media,
yeah, I use English. I read English. I listen to English. Right. So I
so
I try to
do
surround
you
myself.
prefer to watch? Do you prefer to watch English movies then? Do you watch any English movies?
I used to watch, but now I don't. I sometimes I devote time on watching. I think web series.
Yeah. So you do watch some series, but in English, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's great. So since you did not give me a lot of content to work on, I could not point out anything. So I'll just go to the next question. Um, what kind of news, if any, is it that you're interested in? What kind of news do you usually follow? Not just, so news can be anything, current events can be anything, it does not have to be a tragedy, it can even be Bollywood stories, that's also news. So are you interested in any particular, news stories, or is something that interests you too much?
And my interest in too much. I read books. Apart from that, I I I love my body keeping fit. I eat healthy food. If you are giving a story about how to lose weight, how to stay fit, how to stay motivated, I can give attention 100% on that content, right? So yeah, these are my hobbies. I read books. I work on my self development, and by profession I'm a fitness coach. So I try to surround myself with the content that is, improving my personality.
Great. Yeah,
Right.
makes sense.
So,
Yes.
so yeah, that's how I spend my time.
Great. That's actually pretty great. Okay, so just one thing that I would like to point out. You said I can give attention 100%, right? So instead of saying that, you can say I can give my attention. And you don't need to use 100%, because when you say attention, you're already talking about yourself. You're already talking about how you give all your attention to this one thing that you're talking about. So you don't have to use 100%. And even if you want to use 100%, what you can say is, I can give my 100% attention to this thing. Don't use it at the end. 100, don't use 100% at the end. Use it in the middle, especially before attention. So then it signifies, okay, full attention, or maybe use full attention instead of 100%.
Okay.
So try avoiding using 100% or percentage or numbers whenever you are saying a sentence and talking about things like attention or devotion, right? Because usually these things are not signified by percentage or weighed by percentage, right? These are only a few things that happen in math, or whenever you're talking about statistics, right? Then you can use percentage, then it's fine. But since you're just talking about one thing and you're talking about attention, which is a feeling, just use attention. I can give this thing my full attention, or I usually like to give this thing my full attention, something like that. Okay, so you said that you like reading books. So, what are some of the books that you like? Is there a favorite author or something?
No, I love whatever I I have. I love those all books, and I love Brand Tracy is my favorite author. Joy
Oh,
Dispenza, uh, Joseph Murphy, Kiyosaki, Napoleon Hill, and many more. I love those all books.
okay, great. So, just one thing, you said I love those all books, right? Even when you started and when you ended, both these times. So instead of saying, you just jumbled the words a little bit. The words are not wrong, the sentence formation is wrong. That's it. So instead of saying I love those all books, you can just say I love all those books. You just jumbled the words a little bit here and there. Other than that, words, you chose the right words, just the sentence was not exactly correct. So you can just say, I love all those books. When you say those all, it feels like there's something wrong with the sentence and the other person will not understand exactly what you're saying. Right? So I love all those books instead of those all books. That's it. Other than that, it was fine. Okay, so is there any particular genre that you read, or or is it your favorite? Something like mystery or thriller? What are you interested in the most when it comes to books?
Non-fiction.
Okay. And what kind of fiction? What do you like to read about? Is there any story that you've come across recently?
I'm reading this one right now.
Oh, great. Okay. So can you tell me about it a little bit?
It's talking about goals, right? How to achieve your goals faster than ever before, right? And it's written by Brand Tracy, and he says that if you have goals to achieve something, whether it's finance, health, uh, or any relationship, or any kinds of fitness, or if you have to achieve, then set a goal, right? Because without goal, you cannot hit the target. If you can't see anything, how can you hit that, right? So in order
Yes.
to achieve
Yeah.
anything, you must set a goal, right? So that you can see it. I have to make certain amount of money 5 years from now, right? Or 10 years from now. I have, and then how you can achieve that goal. You have to, if that goal long term, if that is long term goal, you have to cut into pieces. You know,
Yes.
1 year from now, how much you will have to make money, and then 2 years from 3 years from now, and then again you cut into pieces, right? Again per month, how much you have to make that money. Even hourly you have to set goal, and then take
Yes.
action, and then visualize that goal is already you have achieved,
Yeah.
right? And when you feel that, the moment you visualize and feel that after achieving that goal, how you will be acting, how you will be feeling, how you will be spending that money, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Then that words, that thoughts, get downloaded in your subconscious mind. And the moment it will download in your subconscious mind, you will feel like you don't need to force yourself to you have to make money. Your subconscious mind force your body to go and take action,
Yes.
right?
Great. Yeah.
So that's how this book is teaching you in order to achieve your goals. This is the way you can achieve. I love reading book. I'm reading it twice.
Oh, okay. Great. That's actually good. That's a nice book to read, definitely. I would agree with that. Okay. So, again, just a few things. So, I would actually like to point out that you are good at forming sentences. You just get confused a little bit here and there when it comes to words. You're picking all the right words. So that's great. And you're not making a lot of mistakes. You're quite clear about what you want to say. And you have those concepts in your head. So you're saying it exactly like that. So that's a good thing. That's a great thing. You should keep that up. And other than that, again, you used a lot, right? So maybe stop, maybe avoid using that. It's
When,
okay.
when I rewatch, this video, I feel like I'm using, a lot. I feel ashamed
Yeah.
on myself, right?
Yeah, you don't need to do that. You don't need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's completely fine because it does happen a lot. There are a lot of people who use the word like a lot of times, or the word only a lot of times. So it's completely fine. You can use whatever, but
And
when it
while
comes,
I earlier I was not using this kind of filler, but when I got into learning this language, I was listening to a girl. She's from US. She's Indian, but she's staying in US. And
yeah,
after listening her conversation again and again, I got that form into my subconscious mind, and that
yeah.
I learned this. But it's
Yeah, no, but
it's enough.
that's fine. That's fine. That's okay. We use. I think everyone uses a lot of fillers when they're talking, and because we all of us, I think, are used to informal conversations a lot. So whenever we're talking to friends or parents or relatives, we don't think that much. So even if you're using certain kinds of fillers, the other person is going to understand you just the same. So you don't realize that you're doing it, but it's okay. It actually comes in handy when you're in a professional environment or in a formal environment. Then if you use these fillers too much, the other person will not consider it formal, or the other person will not consider it very professional. They will point that out and they will not understand whatever it is that you want to say, because whenever you use a filler, it does not contribute anything to the sentence, right? So it's very unnecessary to the context and to the sentence. So it's completely fine to not use it. But I just pointed it out, so it won't just go away like that. You have to practice a little bit, 2, 3 more sessions. I think a lot of people will see this and tell you this if you're still doing it. And if they still do, you will have that in mind, and then you'll be fine. You won't stop, like you will stop using it as much. Maybe you'll still use it, but not as much, right? So that's completely okay. And then you said, if that is long term goal, right? So you forgot one word in the middle. You should have said, if that is a long term goal, or if that is your long term goal, something like this. So you forgot to use a long term goal, right? So whenever it's plural, you can use long term goals, just long term goals. You don't need to use a, because you're already using goals. So it's fine if you don't use a, because it's used for singular. But since you said long term goal, which is one thing, one goal, so then you have to use a long term goal, right? Because singular, it's a singular form. Okay. So I think that was it. Other than that, you spoke very well. So it's completely fine. And I think we just have 1 more minute left. So I would like to give you a summarized feedback, just a few things that you should majorly focus on. Okay? One is definitely the filler word. You should focus on that. Be consciously aware of it. Try to use it less. Don't not use it at all. Try to use it less, maybe. Right? Start with that, and then it'll go away. That's it. And I think other than that, there's a little bit of a confusion when it comes to forming a sentence, because you're using the right words, but then you jumble the words in the middle. And I think that happens when you're speaking, because you have to speak spontaneously. You don't Whenever you write, you can always go back and correct your mistakes, but whenever you're speaking, you have to speak in a flow, right? So you kind of get confused in the middle somewhere, but that is also okay. You just have to be aware of what you're saying. So even if you're taking some pauses in the middle to think about it, it's fine, but make sure that you're saying the right thing and you're not getting confused when it comes to forming a sentence. Just make sure of that. I think other than that, it's fine. Other than that, it's all good. I was completely able to understand whatever you were saying, and you have a good accent as well. So that always comes in handy. Great.
It's my
Uh,
mother tongue accent.
okay, great. So that was it for today's session. It was nice meeting you, and I hope that you'll apply all of these things in real
Sure,
life
sure.
as
And thank you so much for giving my feedback and Bhavika. And I'm wishing you God bless you. Have a long life
well.
and blissful
Yeah.
life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye bye.